What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing some battles in the Color Cup running a rare duo for the Great League in Armarouge and Ceruledge, which both evolved from Charcadet. However, these Pokemon I believe were only Great League eligible through a time-specific Android exclusive research a while back, or through trading with a very low level account, meaning unfortunately a lot of people do not have access to them, but they are fairly attack weighted and very fun to run in this meta. I'm using Shadow Gyarados in the lead to cover for the weakness to ground and have neutral play into other water types, and it worked out quite well for me. So with that being said, let's just get straight into the question of the day. Which Pokemon that currently already evolves would you like to see gain a new evolution that picks up a different dual typing to its existing evolution, and what typing would that be? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the battles now. Alright, so go into the first battle in Shadow Gyarados into Morpeko. Honestly, this is probably the worst Pokemon for this team to see. However, of course, Incinerate's gonna do big damage, and as well, even with the Gyarados, Dragon Breaths will still chunk. They go for the Aura Wheel there, and the opponent is now gonna swap into a Shadow Quagsire. Definitely not ideal for us. We're gonna go for a Side Shock throwing on the CMP tie, and Side Shock is actually gonna grab a shield. However, the opponent did not actually reach a charge move, so instead, they're now gonna go for 2 extra Mud Shots, throw the Mud Bomb just before we reach Side Shock number 2. We've grabbed a shield back from the opponent. We're now going to come in with the Gyarados, and we are going to go for the Aqua Tail straight away here, as I realize they're going to reach a Stone Edge. So Aqua Tail is actually going to be shielded by the opponent. So at this point, I'm thinking, I kind of need to shield this. I need my Gyarados to take out the Quagsire. However, I realize the opponent will be swapping back into Morpeko. We're going to come in with the Ceruledge, but the opponent allows me to get off 1 Incinerate, which puts them into a single Dragon Breath farm down range, meaning we don't take the boosted Thunder Shock damage there. We come in with the Gyarados. We can out overfarm, and I'm thinking we've seen Morpeko. A pretty common core right now is Morpeko and Talonflame in the back, and it is going to be the Talonflame. So of course, Shadow Gyarados will be able to sweep this game here, firing off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail will be enough damage to take out the Talonflame, and I'm able to take that game. So GG's to opponent there into next battle. See a Shadow Kingdra in the lead. So this is a great matchup for us, especially since we've got 2 Pokemon that are going to deal double resisted fast move damage. They swap into Jumpluff. We can come in with the Armarouge. I'm going to no shield this. The opponent full sends an Acrobatics, which does huge damage. However, it's very unlikely that they're running Acrobatics and Aerial Ace, so I can actually farm up to 100 energy, fire off the Flame Charge, boost up my attack. Now if they come back in with the Shadow Kingdra, I'm going to go straight for a Side Shock here, and this is probably going to threaten a shield, as it would do a lot of damage. So Side Shock is going to be shielded by the opponent. They do get the Dragon Breath farm down, but that's okay. We can come back in with the Gyarados, and I'm still able to outpace them to a Crunch. I'm going to fire off the Crunch here, as I don't believe, even though it's double resisted and they're fairly low, I don't believe the Aqua Tail would get the KO there. And at this point, all we've got to do is bank an Aqua Tail, swap into the Ceruledge. We've got 2 shields here. We're going to start using them. The opponent fires off the fly. We can go for the Shadow Ball as soon as we get there. If we grab the final shield, I will just let the Ceruledge go down. Shadow Ball is going to get that final shield. We already have the Aqua Tail loaded, so at this point we can just safely let the Ceruledge go down. They go for a fly there, they get the KO, but we can fire off the Aqua Tail. The opponent recognizing there's nothing they can do anymore, so they just concede the match. So GG's to opponent there into the next battle. Going to see Shadow Gyarados into a Mantine. So battle of the water and flying type Pokemon. The opponent is going to stay in this matchup. I'm going to no shield the first charge move here, as they're going to go for an Aerial Ace. Well, I assume an Aerial Ace. I guess they could have baited with a Bubble Beam. However, they fire off the Aerial Ace. We're going to go for a Crunch, and Crunch is going to be shielded by the Mantine. At this point, I'm hoping we can make it to an Aqua Tail, but we fall just short there. That was definitely a poor judgment on my end. I should have realized quite soon that we're not going to make it to the charge move, and then swapped out, because now unfortunately we gave them a huge farm down. I will be able to go for Flame Charge. However, Flame Charge is going to get the KO, but they've got a second water type in Shadow Quagsire. I choose not to throw on CMP this time around, and this is actually a huge call for me, as the opponent throws straight away, and because we get a full Incinerate in for free as they throw the charge move there, I can reach back-to-back Side Shocks. First one grabs the shield. The second one, since we are boosted, will be enough to take out the Shadow Quagsire, but they've got a Talonflame in the back, and again another moment where I didn't realize they were going to be able to farm me down there until it was too late. We swap into Ceruledge here. The opponent will be going for the Brave Bird, but they've got back-to-back charge moves. Actually, maybe not. Maybe they're on Flame Charge and Brave Bird, but either way, one more Incinerate takes us out, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. So GG to opponent there, we definitely had multiple instances where if we'd have swapped out sooner, instead of getting farmed down, maybe I could have won that game. But into the next battle, we see a Credilli in the lead. Now, this team is actually triple weak to rock, so Credilli is not so bad to deal with just because, of course, they're going to be mostly dealing bullet seed damage, which is resisted by the fire types and neutral on the Gyarados. However, if you do see, like, I don't know, a Alolan Golem, for example, then maybe this is not the right team for you to run. But either way, we're going to go for back-to-back Side Shocks here. We throw on the CMP tie. Side Shock is going to be no shielded. And at this point, we've, of course, got no shields here. But a fly will not quite take us out there. So we can go for another Side Shock. I'm actually going to undercharge this as I realize we can come in with the Gyarados, snipe with the Dragon Breath damage. If they come back in with the Credilli, I think they're 2 bullet seeds away from the next rock slide. So I commit to a full Dragon Breath farm down. And they've got a Alolan Marowak in the back. It's going to be game over. I can very easily reach back-to-back Aqua Tails. The first one grabs a shield. Second one will do big damage. Actually, technically, I should have gone for Crunch here, as Crunch does do slightly more damage. However, it doesn't really make a difference. They will reach a last-second Shadow Bone. Shadow Bone gets the KO, but we can come in with the Ceruledge, get off 1 Incinerate, taking out the Marowak, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top end there into the next battle. We see Ferrothorn in the lead. So, of course, I've got 2 fire types in the back. I'm going to try and swap out there, catch a Power Whip. However, the opponent does not allow me to get off a single Incinerate. They do swap into Galissapod. I'm just going to no-shield this. They fire off the Exeter here, and I'm only reaching 1 charge move. So, technically, should have gone for Side Shock, as Side Shock does slightly more damage. However, I did check after the battle. Side Shock's damage wouldn't have quite taken out the Galissapod from that range anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. It wouldn't have flipped that matchup. But either way, we come in with a Ceruledge. We're going to get the Incinerate farm down, and they've actually got a Shadow Quagsire in the back. So we swap. We try to catch an Aqua Tail there. Unfortunately, it doesn't work out, or a Mud Bomb, depending on what they're running. But either way, we go for a Crunch, and we drop their defense. So I realize at this point, I can probably double shield my Gyarados and go for a full Dragon Breath farm down, and that is absolutely going to be the play here, because unfortunately, if I don't do that, I can only get off like maybe 1 Incinerate's worth of damage on the Ferrothorn before fully farming the down. But we get that perfect farm down there. We're now going to fire for an Aqua Tail. I believe they are now at the energy for a Stone Edge, so we're going to swap into our Ceruledge, fire off the Shadow Ball straight away. Shadow Ball is going to grab that final shield from the opponent, and they don't overfarm at all. They're going to go and fire off the charge move. They go for the Aqua Tail there, but can Gyarados reach the charge move? We're able to make it to a Crunch, and again, Crunch going to do slightly more damage than the Aqua Tail, and it gets the KO up against the Quagsire, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG top end there into the next battle, another Morpeko in the lead. So, going to say swap into Armarouge. Unfortunately, the opponent is going to hard punish us with Feraligatr, and they are very quick to swap out as well. So, at this point, there's no point shielding here. I'm going to lose all even shield scenario, so I'm just going to fully sacrifice the Armarouge there. Come in with my Shadow Gyarados. And unfortunately, this is not looking very good for us at all. I'm going to throw straight away, as they did overfarm by 1 Shadow Claw as well. We are now going to see... I actually undercharged the Aqua Tail, but I undercharged it way too much there. I was thinking, oh, if I undercharge it, we can get off 2 Incinerates and then get the full farm down. But unfortunately, that is not the case. Luckily for me, the opponent swaps out, but it doesn't really matter. It's already game over. They go for a Psychic Fangs bait there. I can go for a Flame Charge. I can double shield and fully farm them down. However, I believe the Shadow Feraligatr or the regular Feraligatr, I can't really remember which one it was. But either way, I believe they will still reach a charge move. So I'm just going to let this move go through. Psychic Fangs takes us out there. And unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's up in there into the next battle, another Shadow Kingdra in the lead, and the opponent's going to stay in this time around, so absolutely fine with me. I've actually put them into a range where I can just fire off the Aqua Tail this time, so Aqua Tail is double resisted, but it does get the KO there. They come in with a Jump Off, we're going to swap into our Armarouge, and we're met with a Toxapex. Now, for most Fire-type Pokemon, this is not a great matchup, however, we are also part Psychic, so Side Shock does super effective damage. It doesn't hit that hard, however, the opponent doesn't throw on the best timing, and we are very spammy here. We're going to pace to these Side Shocks at the same pace as a Talonflame going up against, well, I don't know, going for Fly up against any Pokemon. But either way, we can go for back-to-back Side Shocks here, and Side Shock number 2 is actually going to be no-shielded by the opponent. And at this point, it's going to be game over. Of course, I can let this move go through. Aerial Ace takes us out there, but we've got a Ceruledge in the back. And again, very unlikely that they're running Aerial Ace and Acrobatics, but I'm going to shield anyways, just play it safe. It is another Aerial Ace here. I can commit to a full Incinerate farm down. The opponent is going to throw a last-second charge move, but it just doesn't matter. Aerial Ace does not get the KO, and I'm able to get the farm down there to take that game. So GG swap over there into the next battle. You can see Shadow Gyarados into a Charge Bug. So not great for us. I'm going to swap out into my Armarouge there. And the opponent's going to respond with another Feraligatr. However, this time they are unfortunately slightly slower for them. So I will actually make it to a Side Shock and grab a shield advantage. Honestly, that's the best we can get out of this matchup here. I'm not confident if I shield that I will be able to get off another Side Shock. So instead, going to let the Armarouge go down there. Going to come in with my Shadow Gyarados. But again, they have overfarmed just slightly. So I'm just going to throw the Aqua Tail straight away. I don't want to tank a charge move here. Aqua Tail will get the KO. We can now swap out. We're going to swap into our Ceruledge, and they've got Credilli in the back. Now, this is still going to be a pretty tricky matchup for us. They're going to shield this up here. Unfortunately, it's not a Shadow Credilli, so if it was Shadow, I could probably go for a Flame Charge here and then just commit to a full Incinerate Farm Down, assuming they're going to shield, which they do. However, because they are non-Shadow, I will not be able to go for a full Farm Down. So they go for the Rock Slide there. I'm going to overfarm as much as I can here, but you can see we just barely don't do enough damage, so I have to throw the Flame Charge. Flame Charge is going to get the KO. We get one double boosted Incinerate there. Hopefully that puts them into Dragon Breath Farm Down range. They go for the Discharge. We come in with the Gyarados, and unfortunately, we just barely don't get that Dragon Breath Farm Down or make it to an Aqua Tail. We are very close to both of those things, but unfortunately we get neither. They make it to a Charge Move, and they take us out there. So GG to opponent, very well played. Into the next battle, we're going to see Alolan Marowak in the lead, so a great lead matchup for us. The opponent choosing to stay in initially, then swapping into a Dugong. We can fire for Crunch here as I do have two Pokemon that are, of course, going to resist the ice damage from this Dugong. However, of course, a Drill One going to hit for super effective damage here. So might as well hopefully put them into range where we can just go for a full Incinerate Farm Down. The opponent also does not bait there, meaning they don't debuff my attack. We're going to come out with nearly back-to-back Side Shocks loaded. We're going to fire off the first one straight away as they do have a Bone Club. And I can actually live a Bone Club here, so I'm going to no-shield this. They go for the Bone Club. I'm now going to go for a Flame Charge, just because if the opponent does choose to swap out for whatever reason, and I'm able to make it to another Charge Move, which they actually do there as they come in with a Shadow Credilli, I can now go for a Side Shock. We're boosted. This should be grabbing a shield. It does grab the shield, and we come in with the Shadow Gyarados. So at this point, I'm just going to fully sacrifice it. They actually full sent a Grass Knot for some reason. And that makes me think, are they on Stone Edge? Maybe. I'm going to shield anyways. And the opponent's actually running Grass Knot and Rock Slide. So they should have just gone for the Rock Slide there. But either way, we get the Incinerate Farm Down. Come out with the Shadow Ball loaded. And of course, Shadow Ball up against the Alolan Marowak. Easily gets the KO there. And I'm able to take that game. So, GG top over there into the next battle. We see Unova Stunfisk. Okay, maybe this is the worst core breaker for us, as unfortunately we're going to swap out there. The opponent comes in with a Bubble Politoed, which is not great for us either. We're going to fire off a Side Shock here, and Side Shock, of course, is going to do some fairly decent damage. So the opponent actually respects that, but they give the perfect overfarm there, thrown just before we reach the next Side Shock, and they're at back-to-back Weather Balls as well. So at this point, I don't think there's any point in shielding. We're going to come in with the Shadow Gyarados after waiting at our switch clock here, and the opponent, if they're running Ice Beam, they will throw now. So I'm going to no-shield this. Ice Beam honestly does big damage there. They are going to swap back into the Stunfisk, and I'm actually okay with that because now I can fire off the Aqua Tail here. Aqua Tail going to hit for super effective damage, and it puts them into range where I can probably 2-shield and then fully Incinerate farm them down. So it kind of just depends what the opponent has in the back. So we're definitely going to shield once again as the opponent fires off another Mud Bomb here. But actually, we're going to come out of this matchup with 100 energy. So if they come back in with the Politoed, I can go straight for a Flame Charge here. Flame Charge is resisted, but it gets the KO. But unfortunately, they've got Toxapex in the back. So we're going to go straight for the Shadow Ball. We are boosted, and Shadow Ball is going to be shielded. So if I baited there, if I went for a Flame Charge, I could have boosted up my attack once again. We could have been double boosted here. Shadow Ball would have hit for even more damage there and possibly put them into Dragon Breath farm down range. However, I did not bait. We didn't boost up our attack again, and Gyarados will be going down to 2 Poison Jabs, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG's to up there into the next battle. We're going to see a Pelipper in the lead. So again, another battle of the water and flying type Pokemon. I feel like we do have the advantage here as Dragon Breaths are absolutely chunking. Of course, if they do farm up to the potential Hurricane, I'm going to shield. But they are over farming so much here. I'm actually able to reach a second Aqua Tail, grab both shields, and they just bank all of the energy before swapping into a Gastrodon. And this is huge for me. Honestly, if they threw some charge moves, I probably would have let the Gyarados go down. But since we saved the Gyarados, and because they farmed up to back-to-back charge charge boosts, I've put them into range where we can just incinerate, farm down the Gastrodon, and I didn't even need to use a shield. And even better, this is going to be a double resisted body slam, which does very little damage. We also get off 2 incinerate, so if they come back in with the Pelipper, despite being absolutely loaded, I can shield once, go straight for the flame charge here, win CMP with the Ceruledge. Flame charge, of course, will be getting the KO from this range, and they've got Charger Bug in the back. It's gonna be game over. We can go for a boosted flame charge, and of course, flame charge gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top there into next battle. See Shadow Gyarados into Electrode. So, this is definitely not ideal for us. We're going to be safe swapping into Armarouge. I do stay in initially, but honestly, I got off one too many Dragon Breaths before swapping out there. Because now, unfortunately, the opponent actually throws on really good timing, which is definitely not what I was intending. So, should have just gone for one single Dragon Breath before swapping out there instead of 2. But either way, the opponent is going to throw on poor timing this time around. So, I guess it doesn't really matter too much. As now, we can go for the Incinerate farm down. The fact that they stayed in means they don't have a great response to the fire typing, so we're going to go straight for a Side Shock here. Side Shock does huge damage. We're now going to swap into Gyarados, looking for the snipe there. Unfortunately, not getting it, but I'm reading they are weak to fire in the back, so we've still got a Side Shock on our Armarouge. We're going to come in with the Ceruledge. We are going to go for the Incinerate farm down, and it is a Pokemon incredibly weak to fire in the form of Ferrothorn. We can fire off the Flame Charge here. Flame Charge will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and we are glassy, but I should be able to live a Thunder from this range. And with the boost to the Incinerate damage, Incinerate gets the KO up against the Ferrothorn, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top there into next battle, another Alolan Marowak in the lead. So this is great for me. The opponent's going to safe swap into a Serperior. I'm going to hard punish them with my Armarouge. I'm going to no-shield the first charge move as the opponent goes for an Aerial Ace there, which is absolutely fine. I'm actually going to fire off the Flame Charge straight away just because they didn't really farm up much with the Marowak. Actually, I think they just swapped out instantly. So now we can still outpace them to a Side Shock, and we are boosted. So this Side Shock is going to do a lot of damage to the Marowak if they no-shield, which they do. And they also don't really overfarm by too much either, which is fine with me. Bone Club will be getting the KO. We can come in with the Gyarados. However, they've got a Credilli in the back, and I'm pretty sure in this battle I do misplay this quite considerably. We're going to go for the Alcatel there. Honestly, at that point, I probably should have just let them throw a Rock Slide and potentially just take out my Gyarados completely there, as I know Marowak is very low at this point, so either way, I'm going to shield this. I'm going to be forced to shield up the next Rock Slide there as they go for it with the Credilli. At this point, it's not looking too good for me, though. I'm going to go and fire off the Flame Charge. Flame Charge is going to be shielded. They actually swap out here, and what am I doing? Why did I throw the Charge Leaf here? We go for a Flame Charge. I could have just swapped into my Gyarados, farmed them down, banked the Flame Charge, and come out with an Aqua Tail loaded. I think my Switch Clock barely wasn't quite up as it was misaligned, but unfortunately, that is going to be costly as the opponent comes out with the Rock Slide loaded. Rock Slide easily takes us out there, and unfortunately, we do lose that game. But GG's to opponent, very well played there. Definitely my mistake, but either way, very well played. Into the next battle, we can see another Alolan Marowak in the lead. They're going to say swap into Whiscash, and funnily enough, I was just watching, I think it was Dan Ottawa, put out a video with Whiscash, claiming it to be very strong. I actually haven't watched the video yet. I literally just clicked on it as I was doing this battle, and I saw this exact team, so I shield up the Blizzard there. At this point, we're looking to be in a great position. I already know the third Pokemon. Well, if it is the same team, it's going to be a Quagsire, but we do have to be careful. Of course, Quagsire going to be running Stone Edge for coverage. Stone Edge will completely wipe out my entire team, so I'm going to swap, catch the Stone Edge onto my Armarouge, and it is the Stone Edge there. They full sent it, and now at this point, we're looking very comfortable. We can come in with the Gyarados. I should be able to fully Dragon Breath, farm them down before they reach another Stone Edge, and possibly before they even reach any charge move at all, and it's going to be game over now. Again, we can just fire off these Aqua Tails. Aqua Tail number 1 will be shielded. Aqua Tail number 2 will probably also be shielded, but it doesn't matter. We will reach another Aqua Tail with the Shadow Gyarados before the opponent can reach back-to-back charge moves. We're going to fire it off here on the CMP tie, it looks like, as well. Aqua Tail gets the KO, and I'm able to take that game. So, GG's top there into next battle. We're going to see Shadow Gyarados into Shadow Zapdos, so definitely not good for me. I'm going to say swap into my Armarouge, and the opponent is going to fire off a charge move, so definitely going to shield, respect the damage. They actually go for an Ancient Power, which I was not expecting, but that might be kind of a good play up against like maybe a Talonflame. If you throw it straight away, maybe they just won't expect it because it's not enough energy for a Thunderbolt. But either way, we're going to go for back-to-back Side Shocks here. First one, no shielded. Second one is going to be shielded. And at this point, we're going to let the Armarouge go down. Now, I'm hoping Gyarados can come in and go for a full Dragon Breath farm down before they do reach the next charge move. However, it will be very close. So we come in with the Gyarados. Can we get that farm down? no, we're just barely not able to do so there. They live with 1 HP and a dream. Fly even gets the KO as well, which is even worse for me. But now we get the Incinerate farm down, and let's see what their final Pokemon is. It's going to be Credilli, and unfortunately, there's just not a lot we can do here, especially since the opponent will be grabbing my final shield. I believe they're actually only 2 Thunder Shocks away from the next charge move on their Shadow Zapdos, so it doesn't really matter what I do at this point. We can farm up to 100 energy. They actually don't shield that first charge move, which is definitely the smart play. Save the shield for the Shadow Zapdos, but they don't even need it anyways, as they can go for a Rock Slide, get the KO there, and unfortunately we do lose that game. But GG so there into the final battle of this video, leading into a Talonflame, so a great lead for us. The opponent safe swaps into Morpeko, and whilst we do have the typing disadvantage in this matchup, we're just going to deal so much damage with the Incinerates and be able to boost up our attack with a Flame Charge that in the 2-shield scenario, we can comfortably take this and not really take that much damage from the Morpeko either. So at this point, definitely going to double shield here, maintain alignment, because as well, I am boosted. If they come back in with the Talonflame, I can go for a Psyshock, and Psyshock will still do big damage, but they actually come in with a Quagsire, which definitely makes things a lot more difficult as we are all shields down. Quagsire has the tools to completely dismantle my team. However, they do overfarm. They're actually going to go for a full farm down, meaning I reached 2 Psyshocks. I'm now going to fully sacrifice the Ceruledge. And honestly, if the opponent goes for an Aqua Tail here, I think we lose because they would just be able to farm me down and then come out with another charge we've loaded. However, they full send the Stone Edge. They get the KO, but again, that puts them into Dragon Breath farm down range. I can overfarm as much as I want with the Gyarados, fire off the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail takes out the Talonflame, and 2 more Dragon Breaths take out the Quagsire, and I'm able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. And if you want to take your support even further, you can now become a channel member with perks including early access to new videos, shoutouts at the end of each video, custom loyalty badges, and custom emojis to use in the comments. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone that has already become a channel member. Your support is greatly appreciated, and with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.